Hi, this video tonight is going to talk about Joseph's point of view from the story of Jesus' birth. And so we're going to look at Matthew 1, verse 18 through 25. And it's this. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was as follows. When his mother, Mary, had been betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found to be with child by the Holy Spirit. Now Joseph, her husband, being a righteous man, and not wanting to disgrace her, desired to put her away secretly. But when he had considered this, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for that which had been conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. And she will bear a son, and you will call his name Jesus, for it is he who will save his people from their sins. And all this took place that was spoken by the Lord through the prophet might be fulfilled, saying, Behold, the virgin shall be with child, and shall bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which is translated God with us. And Joseph arose from his sleep, and did as the angel of the Lord commanded him, and took her as his wife, but kept her a virgin until she gave birth to a son, and he called his name Jesus. Okay, so as we're going to enter into that part of Luke 2 in the next day or two, after I get done reading Luke 1. All right, so I just have a couple notes written down here from someone who had taught this, and I guess a couple pastors that have taught me this over the years. So Mary was espoused. In one version of the Bible is called espoused, betrothed, or you could call it engaged. But I think it's one step up from engaged. Usually betrothal. Now I'm going to go over betrothal. Actually had their commitment ceremony. They were going to commit to each other to be married, or they were going to commit to marrying each other. Then they had to go through a process, and then they had what they call the official wedding with a feast, and then consummation. Okay, so it's the same way with the Jewish. Now, back in the day, now we're looking at, they kind of timed Jesus's birth. One of those articles I read the other day, around 6 BC, because Herod, who we will talk about later, went after the child right after he was born, and he died in like 4 BC. So what it is Jesus was born in 6 BC or around there. Might have been a little bit before that. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So before they consummated the marriage, she was found pregnant. Now Joseph was a man who was righteous. All right. And he didn't understand what happened, because obviously he wasn't there when the angel visited Mary. So he was kind of saying, okay, the woman I'm supposed to marry got involved in adultery somehow and ended up pregnant. I know she's not mine because we never did the deed. And he, instead of wanting to make her a public example or have her be viewed in a negative way, he secretly wanted to divorce her, like in secret, so no one would know. Okay. There's also a theory that's saying that Mary went to go visit Elizabeth for the first 3 months. Now, there could be a possibility there might be a tie there where maybe she decided, well, Joseph, I'm going to give you some time to think about it, and I'm going to go to Elizabeth's house, and I'm going to go visit Elizabeth for a little while. Maybe something like that. You can imagine the hurt that he had. You can imagine the doubts that he had. You can imagine all the things that are going on. But he loved and respected her enough to not make her a public example. And I know in the Jewish traditions back then, if a woman was found in adultery, she was stoned to death and that type of thing. Now, he didn't want that to happen to her either. So the Lord sent an angel to appear to him in a dream. And he told him, this is what happened. This is how she got pregnant. And he believed this angel, okay? Because I'm sure Mary said the same thing. So whatever Mary told him was confirmed by the angel, which appeased him. And he said basically, go marry her. But obviously she needs to stay a virgin until after the baby's born. So you can't consummate. Okay. So there were some other things that said it was a betrothal was considered a marriage contract. It was kind of set up by parents and could only be broken by divorce. Then the second step was later in the year, in the marriage feast, and the groom took the wife home. So he basically took his wife home, but didn't consummate. So, I mean, that is the whole nutshell, is that Joseph was obedient to God. And immediately, he did what he was told. And he took her as his wife and kept her pure until Jesus was born. And what an amazing man. And I mean, to say my wife is pregnant with God's child, that must have been a shocker to him. Must have been a real big shocker, but an honor too, So, I think that we just got to remember that, there were a lot of things going on in that time period that we should always revisit. And sometimes revisiting those things helps us to learn more about that time period as well and what actually happened and the customs back then. Sometimes it could be scary. And that time period, it was very scary for a young girl to get pregnant out of wedlock. It was scary. So I hope you guys found this little video encouraging, uplifting, and inspiring. And tomorrow I'll be back on to read some more of Luke 1. And we're going to finish with Zacharias, who actually is able to speak again. So that'll be a cool reading. Until tomorrow, have a good day, a good night.